Hey, happy Friday, everybody who's ever out there on short notice. It's not my usual evening to do something, but I had a few things I wanted to correct. I don't make mistakes too often when I send out a daily or my weekly email, but I did today, and I wanted to correct that. But another conversation I had during the day led me to realize that I scheduled the next Comic Art Live event right up against the same weekend as a show that's near and dear to me, even though I've never gotten to see it, which is the Lake Como Art Festival that Steve Morger runs. And so, once we get a few more people in the audience here, hopefully, if anybody even chooses to show up, you can. You know what? The honest truth is, if you show up later and you listen to this, what I'm looking for is some feedback on what we can do with the dates, because we've got so many things happening in May. I didn't want to put the fifth Comic Art Live Con up against any other major events happening that month. So, of course, the last weekend in May would be Memorial Day. Terrible weekend to do the show. The weekend before that is MegaCon, where I'm going to be doing a panel. So I can't be running Comic Art Live and doing it that weekend. And which is why I wanted to pick the 14th and 15th. But now we are stacked up against the Lake Como Fest, which is the 13th through the 15th. And, again, even though it's in Italy, at the end of the day, lots of artists will be there and many Italian art collectors. So, and again, Steve's my good friend. Tatiana works with him as well. And Tatiana was the one who called me today and we were chatting, and that's when we realized that I had picked that the same weekend as them. So what I'm hoping we can decide is I'd like to say that we're going to go ahead and make the next Comic Art Live be I guess it's really the second weekend in May, right? That would be the 7th and the 8th. So, just looking for feedback, because I don't really see another choice. I'm not going to be on Memorial Weekend, and I don't want to go up against MegaCon, especially if I'm doing a panel. And then also, I'm not going to go up against my good friends at Lake Como, whom I hope one day to actually get out to that show, because it's really, if you haven't seen it, I've got, I'll share some links so people can become familiar with it. But let's see, let me get this thing on the screen here. I was pulling up a list of all the things that were out there. They've got this 9th art festival coming up, but Lake Como, it's just lccaf.com. But they always have a great guest list, because Steve is good friends with many, 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 many creators. Benitez is going to be there, Ryan Benjamin, Bianchi, Brereton, Brooks, Buckingham, Cho, Close. Coipel. Camolo is going to be there, one of my favorite artists of all time. Jeff Darrow, Alan Davis, Delato, Federici is going to be there. Adi. Jeez. See, I want to go to that show. Adam Hughes, Clance Jansen. We haven't even gotten to M yet. Even Mr. Linsner is going to be there. So it's a huge, huge show. David Mack. I know that Annabelle from Kirby's Comic Art is going to be there. Tatiana is going to be there. Several of her artists are going to be there. So at any rate, just looking for a thumbs up. Yeah, exactly. Tim Selsick. It is the show of all shows, in all honesty. And I think they cap it. I think they must cap attendance a little bit too, because of where they host it. But again, it's just an amazing show. And, I'm disappointed that I've not been able to get out there. And, they've missed the last two, of course, thanks to COVID. So this is, their big triumphant return. And look at the list there. Sean Phillips is there. Assad's there. Sale, as you mentioned, Serpieri, holy mackerel, Aranza's there, Liam Sharp, Teixeira, and Allison Sohn, of course. So yeah, one big show. I don't want to have my show on the same weekend as that one. So I'm definitely going to probably, I don't have any choice. I'm moving it to the first weekend in the month. But, I just wanted everybody to know that I'm going to do that, since I've publicized it in the last two CAF updates, saying we were going to, without question, have the show on the 14th and 15th. So I'm going to, thanks for that reminder over there as well. But so there you go. We're going to switch it, and the 7th and 8th will work just as fine. A little earlier than I'd want, but now that cons are back, I think I have to kind of roll with the punches, because I am the new show on the block, and I should definitely stay out of the way of any shows that are really heavily featuring comic artists. So. And that comic art collector is going to be attending, so it wouldn't be good for our show. The other thing was that in my haste to cram a email out this afternoon, I had screwed up 2 links in my email, which really bothered me. Colin let me know about one of them, because Colin actually helps the the new show Wicked Comic Con, and at the last minute I'd already written the email, and with the schedule of events that were a part that I wanted to include, which didn't include Wicked Comic Con at the time. Colin had sent me an email saying he wanted there's some ads we're going to be running for them, so I saw that. I'm like, oh, the email hasn't been sent yet. I'll just go ahead and add a line in there for Wicked Comic Con, and I spelled the domain name wrong. I added in an extra C, so that was really bad on my part. I was going to ask Colin to be on, but I figured it's Friday night. He's not going to want to come out. But Wicked Comic Con is with 2 C's there at the end of comic and the beginning of con, not 3 like I wrote it. So it was broke if anybody tried to click on it. This is a new show. And I mean, if Colin's in, I can tell you it's going to be a really, really good show focused on artists. It's only on April 9th. So it's definitely something, if you're in the Boston area, you're going to want to check out. So I'm trying to do a little extra work here for Colin since I messed all that up earlier. But guests are great. You got Bisley. Let's see who else. I know that was on the big list. That was big. Glenn Fabry. Love Glenn. Larry Hama. We got Ken Lashley's going to be there. Sue Lee, Mike Lilly. Ron Mars, Sean McManus, Sean Murphy, Jeremy Apena, Sarah Richard, Craig Russo, Mark Schultz. We got Ben Temple-Smith, Chris Dominga, Trevor Von Eden, and Woodward, and Chrissy Zulo as well. So again, a really great show that I screwed up the link in the calf mail today. So again, that's wickedcomiccon.com, not the way I wrote it in the email. So hopefully, hey, Ian and Sam, you'll see Mr. Easy Go Lucky. I knew if I was on long enough, we get some of the regulars out there, as well as Big Man Tuna that Howard Chaykin had got a chuckle out of. Thank you, David Matheny, for already pressing like. So I was just letting everybody know that we're going to switch Comic Art Live in the May show to the 7th and the 8th versus the 14th and 15th. So I don't step on anybody's toes if you didn't hear that initial announcement. But the other thing was I messed up the Wicked Comic Con link. And so, yeah, I have now corrected that. And I also and I didn't even test the link, but Colin let me know that I'd done an improper link to Joe Vedieri's Productions website where the Comic Art Con information is at. And the only reason I think I messed that up is because I copied the link off of Facebook, because every time I type in, you would think on any site out there, right? If you were to search for a show like this, Comic Art Con New Jersey, right there was New Jersey. I've typed this out many times. You search on that, and their site and Joe Vedieri's site doesn't come up on the whole first page except for his Facebook page. So that's just so out of the ordinary. I went over to there and there was a link, and somehow I clicked, copied it, and I somehow missed a semicolon or something. So messing things up left and right in the email today. So I felt bad that happened. So I wanted to correct those mistakes. So what are you going to do, right? But the main thing being was I wanted to just get any feedback. So and I didn't want to keep everybody tied up tonight, because again, it's a Friday night, and this is not a normal night for me to be out here, but I figured if anybody was listening and anybody sees this afterwards, wanted to let them know about that. If anybody has any problems with that date, let me know. Colin usually would know, because he helps run convention scene in the calendar over there, which is how I decided that the 14th and 15th was good, because Lake Como wasn't even listed on their site, and it's still not listed there today. So I had no idea that it was going on there, although I should have, because Tatiana and I had talked last month. We're going to actually try to do a live stream show from Lake Como either Saturday or Sunday. She said they've got really good internet in there, and apparently they can somehow get something wired in there. So we're going to try to actually do some, a couple interviews from the show floor, or whether it'll be with artists or collectors who are there. Either way, hey, Tatiana, see, you're there. Yeah, I was making sure. I see I'm already correcting. I'm trying to backtrack from saying that I was going to have Comic Art Live on the same weekend as Lake Como. I'm so glad we talked today, because it totally fixed, corrected me on that. And also I should have had you on with me tonight, but yeah, I felt pretty stupid, because I hadn't written down the fact that you and I were going to try to do a live stream from Lake Como. So, now it's on my calendar properly. I've moved Comic Art Live over to the 7th and 8th, and I think hopefully everything is right with the world again. But yeah, dang it, I'm sorry about that. At any rate, that's really all I wanted to pop in here and tell everybody who might be hearing it and who might see this later. I just wanted to get the word out without sending out a special email to correct my mistake for putting Comic Art Live on the wrong weekend. So it's not going to work. But outside of that, I don't think I even had anything else I was going to point out. Other, just reminders on the other shows. But I did. Every other show that I had a reminder on, in the email today, I had the right link, so those were all good. But you know, again, at the end of the day, that was all I wanted to talk about. And I knew, there's 20 of you watching me, which is cool. But I wanted to get this message out this way so that I could reach as many people as I could possibly to let them know we're going to change the date. No big deal, of course, since we've got about 3.5 months before the show happens anyway. But that's all. So that was all I wanted to get out there. The one person in my world outside of my family that I don't want to disappoint is Colin. And Colin's put a lot of effort in the Wicked Comic Con. We've been emailing about it, and he had said how they want to advertise a couple months ago. So I was all prepped, and I've been wanting to do a good job for him, being since it's their first show going out, and I just felt like a dummy. And he emailed me, he's like, the link was wrong, and I was like, oh man, Colin is literally, he works so darn hard for me. He's the one guy I would never want to disappoint. Hey Ron, what the heck is going on? I was just letting people know that I changed the date of Comic Art Live to the 7th and 8th of May, and was kind of just looking for everybody's thumbs up who ends up hearing this or stumbling into the show, that's okay with everybody, because technically now that's 2 weeks earlier than I've had it the first 2 times in May. Yes, exactly. Tatiana said this year live with me at Como. Yes, and I really, really do hope that I can make it out there in 2023. That would be a blast. And there's I'm actually talking with the show in Pittsburgh. That's, I think it's essentially a new show that is happening in Pittsburgh, and I think it's in June. They want me to come in and do some kind of a live show over the weekend. And I don't know if I'm going to be able to work that out, but if I'm still in Cleveland, it would be an easy drive for me to do that. But they wanted me to do some kind of like an after hours Saturday show and then stream it and then do some art sales or something. So I think, depending on how things work out, I'll take them up on it. I mean, I'm looking to branch out, right, and do panels and do other types of events and get CAF's name out there and try to spread the good word about Comic Art Live and all the stuff we're doing here on the channel. So we'll see. But yes, Ron. So I got your $20, by the way, Ron. The award will be in the mail on Monday. No worries. Everyone here gets a hammer trophy. Yeah, exactly. I handed all the hammers over to the girls today too, so they're going to be painting the handles of the hammers over the weekend. So I'll take a few snapshots of them hard at work, so I can show off their labors this weekend to making those all look perfect. But yeah, they're gonna wrap those up for me by Sunday, hopefully, and then on Monday I'll get those out. So I'll be shooting everybody who won a hammer award get their email addresses so I can get those out in the mail early next week. But yeah, outside of that, that was all. I didn't want to tie up anybody's Friday night. I just wanted to kind of let everybody know that was going on, and also to apologize to Colin live, even though I knew he'd probably be busy tonight anyway. But I wanted to fix that thing because there will be ads for the Wicked Comic Con show starting up on CAF, I believe. I'll probably just turn them on this weekend. I think they were scheduled to go on around the 8th or so. Just killing time at work, big man. All right, that's good. That's good. I'm helping you kill time while you wrap up your day. But yeah, so that's so those ads will be out there. And Tatiana, we should do some PR. Now, remember we were talking about trying to help Enrico and his PR for the show. Like I said, I haven't gotten a single email about Lake Como, which was why it really wasn't on my radar. And they haven't got it listed on conventionscene.com, which is, for me, I know there are other convention lists out there nowadays, but Convention Scene has always been like the oldest one. It's the one I always used to rely on for upcoming dates. There was some site when I actually Googled Lake Como, one of those kinds of sites came up, and it looked a little odd the way the listings were and everything too. So if you try it, you might find it. It had a list of guests. It had David Mack's name on there, but it had the writer David Mack's picture and bio. So I don't even know what the heck that site was, but it just seemed odd. So I don't know if that was something Enrico did, or maybe it just kind of happened on its own. But yeah, I'd like to be able to do some more. Yeah, I'll even show it to you if you're still here, Tatiana. I'll just share the screen. If you Google Lake Como Comic Con, so I'm not saying Art Fest, I said Comic Con, and put 2022 in there. If you go down there, look, David Mack. That is not the David Mack we all know and love. So and this is on some site called RosterCon. So I can't imagine that Enrico gave him this information. They're probably just like scraping websites and trying to pull data. But yeah, I just thought that was odd. So just another thing to point out to Mr. Morger when you talk to him, that there's some weirdness in the way the search engine optimization is set up on the Lake Como site, because it should always come up first, and this other site's coming up first ahead of you. So a little bit weird. So I'll just go ahead and close that and everything. But yes, yes, you got it, Tatiana. We should. Yeah, call, if you want to call me this weekend. I haven't talked to Maureen yet about those site changes and getting them in your admin either, but I'll talk with her this evening. But yeah, I would love to help out, because everything that Steve does is awesome, and he deserves as much PR as we can possibly give him. So I'd like to be running at least every other week some kind of press announcement about Lake Como, because even if people can't go, I think that they'd be really interested to know about the programming and the stuff that's going on. He's I mean, Steve's shows are just fantastic, and he doesn't do anything on the cheap. They're always really well produced, and he's picked one of the best locations on the planet to have a show that most people would kill to attend. So yeah, let's run some extra PR for him leading up to that, and yeah, we'll chat this weekend. So there you have it. I told you I could do this in 30 minutes or less, but yeah, right, Michael. Exactly. I knew the guy looked familiar. I didn't read through the bio that was up there, but okay, so it was the David Mack who writes the Star Trek novels. So yeah. So the sites that's crawling these con sites for data just isn't really. They're not really doing any editorial to correct any of the mistakes that they put in there, unfortunately. So that's probably something Enrico could shoot them an email or whatever and get them to fix it. But anyway. So there you have it, everybody. We did it in 20 minutes tonight. Not even 20 minutes, 17 minutes. But so I appreciate everybody tuning in. And the ghost of Bernie Mac. Yeah, exactly. But this whole weekend, I have absolutely nothing to do. So I'm going to be finishing up my taxes and a few other things. And so I can feel like when I start next week, I'll be free of all burdens. And we've got a full slate of programming next week with Cameron from Inky Knuckles on Tuesday as an interview, and I've got the Comic Link watch party on Monday. So we're doing dealers as always, and then another CAF update. So it's going to be a super busy week, but fun. And I'm still talking. I mentioned in the email today that I'd spoken with Howard Chaykin after the show. He had a really fun time. And I think he held himself back a little bit when I tempered him at the beginning of the interview, where I told him I was intimidated by him to do an interview with him. And so I think he took it easy on me. But after the show, we talked. He had a great time, and he was talking about wanting to do. I got some emails right away, and I'd said, yeah, everybody seems to really love the show, and they're all saying they'd love to have you back on. Even if we were just doing some talks and stuff. And he expressed interest in that. So we might do some kind of a regular Saturday show, maybe once a month, just Howard and I shooting the stuff about his experiences in the hobby, his relationships with other creators, and and I think, and he was, again, the sale went really well. So maybe every 4 or 6 months we might do another sale with him too, because he just had a good time. He loved the audience. The fact that he actually got a lot of questions. He said a lot of times he does these live streams and there really isn't a whole lot of feedback going on, but he thought that we had a good turnout. I mean, I think we had about 190 people at one point watching the show. So yeah, Samuel, that honestly, hanging out with Howard was a lot of fun. And I think he was really, it just worked out good. I picked art, but by people that were in the audience as well to talk about. I mean, everything, the synergy on that show was just really, really enjoyable for us both. So he seems really open to doing it. I mean, at least doing a once a month show on Saturday afternoon. So yeah, I told him if he'll do it, I'll do it. So we're planning on it. Jim McLaughlin sort of reps him essentially, and Jim's from Hero Initiative. So Jim and I have been emailing, and he's coordinating all the stuff with Howard. So hopefully that'll work out, because he was a good guy. And as everybody saw, I know I'm going to have Sean Gordon Murphy on with his rep Jeff sometime in March on a Tuesday night, but they still haven't emailed me yet, so I don't have an answer for it. But I hope to have that booked soon, because as soon as I get him booked, I've got 2 other guests that I'm trying to book, line up for Tuesday evenings in March as well. And yep, Michael, I agree. Yeah, the Howard show was a lot of fun. And no, he needs no he absolutely needs no prompting to pontificate. He was good though. I mean, I had watched a few interviews with him before, so I knew what to expect. Ron, he really did. That was the thing. He said that, more often than not, when he's doing any kind of a live stream, he just doesn't see the same level of interaction that he got during the show. And and again, I'd said how many people were watching. He wasn't used to that many live viewers and everything. So he had a really great time, and I thought that was great. It was funny. I wanted to write comic art legend in his title like I did when I interviewed Neil Adams, and I didn't because I was like, I wonder if if you'd get mad at that. And then, but after the fact, I was like, Howard is a legend. I mean, for a whole lot of reasons, and I should have wrote that in there because he is, he's just one hell of a talent, and the fact that, I mean, if he's willing to sit down with me an hour a month and we can talk about the industry and his experience with creators, especially those that are no longer with us. I mean, that'd be invaluable to do that. I would do that twice a month with him if he'd be willing to do it. Oh yeah, he liked the ball busting too. All right, and he busted some balls back too. I mean, I remember he made a joke about Big Man Tuna when we got started. So yes, David, I know. Frank Lanza, I've got it. The post-it note was here just the other day. Oh, it was in my ledger. That's why I couldn't find it. But at any rate, yes, Frank Lanza is on the list. But so anyway, so I do hope to have Howard back. And, I've talked with a few other reps as well that are that want to do shows with me, like Next Comic Art. Jiggy has been really forthcoming with that. I mean, I literally think I'll probably be doing one show a month with Jiggy and one of his creators. And yeah, exactly. He knows more about Gil Kane. You're right than anybody alive. I would agree with that. But I hope to be doing more shows with creators throughout the year, whether they're sales shows or not. I'm just going to enjoy, want to at least get into that side of things and just expand the shows and not cut back on doing collector interviews or rep interviews or dealer interviews and sales shows. But I'd like to be at least interviewing 2 creators a month. So, I'm going to reach out to Mark Hay from Splash Page as well. Tatiana and I have talked about it. Just, I think that, it's good. I talk to Mark every once in a while, and he tells me, I've got this artist, he's not getting a lot of exposure. What can I do? And I never told him, hey, why don't we do some kind of a group interview on the show, whether it's an evening during the week or a Saturday afternoon. So I think it makes a lot of sense, and it's a lot more fun for me to just just do something different than the regular things that I've been doing the last year and a half. So yeah. Sorry, double. Yes, David. So lots of plans, lots of stuff in the works, and it's all good. But so again, thanks for tuning in, everybody. I'm not going to keep you any longer. Just remember, Comic Art Live will be the weekend of the 7th and the 8th. And so plan ahead. Write it on the calendar, move it from the prior weekend. I'm going to stay way out of the way of Lake Como Comic Art Festival. So with that, he's not someone who needs to express. Yeah, he did. Yeah, exactly. No, again, Samuel, that was what was cool about it. So Tatiana, good night. Like you say, everybody enjoy the rest of your weekend. Look forward to the Comic Link Focused Auction Watch Party on Monday. I'm going to send out a few invites to some people that I hope will join me for the watch party. I think it usually starts at 8, the auction. I'm going to have everything kind of start around 8:30 after it's already underway. And hopefully I'll have on at least 3 other collectors with me to hang out, and we'll just kind of watch the auction as it goes along, comment as we see fit, and we'll have a good night of it. So again, good night. Have a great weekend. And thank you for tuning in this evening.